A good critical thinking question can never be answered with yes, no, or maybe. So it's springtime, and my wife and I spent this weekend repotting plants that were stuck inside over the wintertime. It got me thinking about how this directly relates to one of my favorite leadership analogies. Stand by to find out how I connect the two and the self reflection that I hope it provides you. The trouble with having large plants inside during the winter is that they become what's called rootbound. This is when the dirt begins to lack nutrients and the roots have nowhere to grow and they tangle themselves up in a mess, whether it's a tree or a plant, and it begins to slowly suffocate on itself. So, to solve this, and this is what we spent last weekend doing, you take the plant out of the container, knock off all the old dirt, and release the knotted roots. Then you cut off about 20% of the root system, bring in fresh nutrient rich dirt, replant it, hope for continued growth. So, have you figured out what the analogy is that I'm going to use on you this week? It's one of my favorites, of course. It's reminding you, are you green and growing or brown and dying? You see, the old soil is related to you as a leader, like allowing a stale environment at work, not pushing yourself, not pushing others, falling into routines without critically thinking about them, and not feeding your soul with the passion and motivation that you should have. In other words, feed it, feed the environment, keep things fresh. When you find yourself bored at work or just disinterested in what you're doing, you need to break out of it and find ways to push yourself and others. Actively communicate with your peers and subordinates and attack things as a leader. Think critically at all times. Here's a little bonus knowledge for you. A good critical thinking question can never be answered with yes, no, or maybe. When you cut off the roots in that root-bound plant, you actually are giving it life by stressing it to find new paths. The same should be for you. Get rid of the things that are binding you up and turning you into knots. If you're in a toxic situation with your leadership environment, always remember that you have the power to change it. It's never going to be easy, but it's always going to be worth it in the end. Rootbound, do something about it. Choose not to be brown and dying, but rather change, replace, push, pull, cut, become green and growing. Iron sharpens iron. Make yourself and others around you better every single day.